President Rodrigo Duterte is seeking clarifications from presidential spokesperson Roque over his plan on whether to stay in government or pursue his senatorial bid in the 2019 midterm elections. Duterte also clarifies that his appointment of presidential legal advisor Salvador Panelo as spokesperson is temporary. Here's why from Diane Ventura.
President Rodrigo Duterte wants to personally clarify things from presidential spokesperson Roque as he is getting impatient of Roque's inconsistency regarding his plans for the 2019 midterm elections. This was stated by the president during a press briefing following his arrival from Indonesia early Friday.
I hope I would not offend Harry, but sabi niya magtakbo siya ng senador. O di sabi ko, sige, so automatic, may ano na ako sa may naisip na ako na, Sal, ikaw muna. Well, if you want it, then I'd look for, I'll scout for another legal advisor. Tapos kinabukasan, sabi niya, hindi na raw. Sabi ko, nasabihan ko muna si pero walang pala pong replacement. Tapos kinabukasan, sabi niya, tatakbo na naman siya. Kanina sabi ni Bong na hindi naman tatakbo. Bigla akong nahilok sa So saan ba tayo pupunta nito, Bong?
The president earlier suggested to Roque to defer his plans of running until the 2021 elections so he could establish his political career more and have more time to prepare.
Ano ba talaga? Tatakbo, hindi, tatakbo, hindi, tatakbo, hindi. Pabuti na lang yan 2021, tatakbo ulit, mas longer space to make the choice with finality.
The president also clarifies that his appointment of presidential legal advisor Salvador Panelo as his spokesperson is temporary. The president, however, cannot decide yet as to what position to offer Roque should the latter finally make up his mind and decide not to pursue his senatorial bid.
But the problem is kung mag-announce ako ngayon, hindi ko pa siya nakausap, baka mapalpak ako. Kasi yung pa naman ang ginamit niya, he was kept in the dark.
Roque has earlier said he will announce his decision next week on whether to stay in the government or pursue his senatorial bid after his trip to China. Diane Ventura, UNTV News and Rescue, Davao City.
Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo faces media in Malacanang as presidential spokesperson based on memorandum dated October 11, 2018, signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea. Panelo's designation as concurrent presidential spokesperson is effective immediately. Panelo says he is not aware of the current status of Roque, but he revealed that Roque will visit Malacanang on Monday to bid farewell. Panelo also assures he will support Roque if he pursues his senatorial bid. President Rodrigo Duterte has earlier said he is seeking clarification from Roque about his final plans.
As I was saying earlier, this is more of not a news briefing, but a courtesy appearance to all of you as a sign of respect and friendship to everybody. I was designated presidential spokesperson by the President pursuant to an October 11 memorandum address to me, signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea.
Philippine permanent representatives to the United Nations, Teodoro Teddyboy Locsin, confirms he has accepted the offer of President Rodrigo Duterte to be the new Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs. In his Twitter account, the former journalist and politician said he believes in President Rodrigo Duterte. That is why he accepted the post. Locsin will replace Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano, who previously announced his plans to run for Taguig representative in the 2019 midterm elections. Duterte announced his offer to Locsin upon his arrival from a one-day travel to Indonesia to attend the ASEAN Leaders Gathering.
Bong, tawagan mo nga si Teddyboy Locsin, sabihin mo kung pwede bang i-mention niya pangalan dito.
Has he accepted, sir?
I don't
Teddyboy?
know. Okay na? Okay na, sabi niya.
Re-electionist Cynthia Villar takes the solo lead in the latest senatorial survey of the social weather stations. Senator Grace Poe and Congresswoman Pia Cayetano also top the list, which is dominated by incumbent and former lawmakers. Victor Cosare tells us why.
Senator Cynthia Villar takes the #1 spot in the latest senatorial survey of the social weather stations commissioned by Presidential Advisor in Political Affairs, Francis Tolentino. The poll shows that Villar obtained a voter preference of 53%. Senator Grace Poe and Pateros Taguig Representative Pia Cayetano were tied for the second and third slots with identical 43%. Senator Coco Pimentel and former Senator Lito Lapid shared the 4th to 5th slots, while coming at the 6th spot is former Senator Jinggoy Estrada, followed by former DILG Secretary Mar Rojas. Sharing the 8th and 9th spot are Senators Nancy Binay and Sani Angara, followed by former PNP Chief and now Bureau of Corrections Head Ronald Bato de la Rosa. Completing the winning circle are former Senator Serge Osmeña and Ilocos Norte Governor Amy Marcos. Liberal Party Senator Bam Aquino placed 13th, followed by Senator JV Ejercito, Tolentino, Special Assistant to the President Bongo, and Presidential Spokesman Secretary Harry Roque. The survey was conducted last September 15 to 23 by interviewing 1,500 respondents who were presented with a list of candidates and were asked to choose 12 names they would probably vote for as senators if the elections were held today. In a separate senatorial survey conducted by the Pulse Asia last September 1 to 7, Villar also topped the list along with Poe, Pia Cayetano, Binay, and Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Bureau of Corrections Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa and Senator Nancy Binay are among the notable personalities who showed up at the headquarters of the Commission on Elections on the second day of filing of Certificate of Candidacy for the 2019 midterm elections. Nel Maribohok tells us why.
It's the second day of filing of Certificate of Candidacy for the upcoming midterm polls, and more personalities seeking elective positions are showing up at Comelec offices to submit their forms. Among the notable personalities who showed up in Comelec Intramuros is Senator Nancy Binay. She was accompanied by her brother, former Makati Mayor Junjun Binay, in filing her COC. Senator Binay says she will focus on the country's tourism industry should she win another term in the Senate.
Nakikita ko ho na marami pang dapat gawin dun sa industriya ng turismo. So isa ho yun dun sa ipupursue ko ho.
Next to file was outgoing Bureau of Corrections Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa, who was accompanied by his supporters. De la Rosa maintains that his main platform of government is for the elimination of illegal drug operations in the country. He will also support the move to reinstate the death penalty.
Drug trafficking, at saka yung other heinous crimes like death, yung rape, yung murder na talagang karumal-dumal, dapat heinous crime din yan. Dapat death penalty yan. Ako talaga more on drugs.
Binay is running under her father, former Vice President Jejomar Binay's coalition, the United Nationalist Alliance, while De La Rosa is running under the ruling party, Partido Demokratikong Pilipino, PDP Laban. Lawyer Larry Gadon, who filed an impeachment complaint against ousted Supreme Court Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, also lodged his candidacy today for his senatorial run. Gadon experienced delays in filing, blaming the insufficient copies of photos he brought. But according to Comelec, the lawyer filled out an outdated form.
Kulang din talaga yung picture. Kasi I thought, last time kasi isang picture lang ginamit eh.
In any case, na-resolve naman kaagad, no? Kasi nabigyan naman ng tamang form and na-fill out yung tamang form.
Other political aspirants also filed their COCs today in hopes of winning a post to push their advocacies.
My agenda here is to propagate the old justice here, not the physical justice.
Ngayon, ipalabanan ko ang kahirapan, labanan ko para sa bansa.
As of today, a total of 37 COCs have been filed for the 2019 midterm elections. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Militant party list groups are once again seeking election come 2019 midterm elections. Grace Casin will tell us why.
Gabriela Women's Party was the first party list group to file their Certificate of Nomination and Acceptance or CONA today. This afternoon, ACT Teachers and Kabataan Party List also filed their CONA. Their incumbent representatives were present in the filing. The group promised to continue their fight in Congress for the people they are representing. They said they not even bothered being tagged as one of the group behind the Red October plot or the movement to oust President Rodrigo Duterte.
Tinatawag kaming Communist Front. Pero sa kabila nun, nakikita nyo naman ay nanalo at dumami pa nga ang boto at ang seats namin sa Congress.
Several incumbent party list groups also seek re-election in Congress. Among them are Asenso, Co-op Natco, Angla, Aangat Tayo, and Una ang Edukasyon. There are also some first-timers vying for a representation in the lower house like AGPTAIP or Alianza General Parents Teachers Association Indigenous People, Construction Workers Solidarity Party List, and the Hugpong Federal Movement of the Philippines. According to Comelec Spokesperson Director James Jimenez, not all who filed their CONAs can join the 2019 elections.
No, may mga pending pa eh. But it's a risk that they take. If during the next couple of days their accreditation comes through, then that's great, no? Pero kung nakapag-file sila tapos later on it turns out na hindi pala sila makakwalify, well, that's the risk they take.
A total of 30 party list group filed their certificates of acceptance and nomination since yesterday. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Presidential son and resigned Davao City Vice Mayor Paulo Duterte is set to enter politics again in the 2019 midterm elections. Senator Chis Escudero, meanwhile, plans to run for the gubernatorial post in Sorsogon, while Lani Mercado seeks re-election as Bacoor City Mayor. Janice Inhente tells us why.
The son of President Rodrigo Duterte and former Vice Mayor of Davao City, Paulo Pulong Duterte, is planning to run for Congressman of Davao City 1st District. Duterte was accompanied by his sister, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte, and his brother-in-law, Attorney Mans Carpio, when he filed his certificate of candidacy earlier.
Mao'y na desisyonan namo sa pamilya, sa pila ka bulan namong plano sa politika, mo na desisyonan namo nga sa 1st District.
Duterte resigned as vice mayor last year after a public squabble with his daughter and after being tagged in the 6.4 billion peso shabu shipment that allegedly slipped past the Bureau of Customs. Mayor Sara Duterte, meanwhile, maintains she will seek re-election in 2019 despite receiving high voter preference ratings in a recent senatorial survey.
I feel na this is where I should be and this is where I can help best the administration of President Duterte.
Senator Chis Escudero, meanwhile, is eyeing a gubernatorial post in Sorsogon. He filed his candidacy earlier at the local Comelec office. While in Cavite, incumbent Bacoor City Mayor Lani Mercado Revilla seeks re-election in 2019. She also dismisses reports on her alleged squabble with brother-in-law, Congressman Strike Revilla.
Alam nyo, maraming gustong gumiba sa samahan ng aming pamilya. At ito po ay ginagamit ng aming pong mga kalaban. Ang hindi nila alam, ang aming pamilya ay solido.
Mayor Lani, however, refused to confirm whether her detained husband Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. will seek to return to the Senate in 2019.
Alam nyo po, siguro yan ang abangan natin sa mga susunod na araw. Alam nyo po, napakahirap para sa amin ang ikampanya ng isang taong nakadetain. It is very challenging for us.
The Partido Federal ng Pilipinas and Liberal Party in Oriental Mindoro, meanwhile, joined their political forces to strengthen support for their candidates in the upcoming poll. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue, Davao City.
Cause-oriented group Tindig Pilipinas announces it will support the senatorial bids of Magdalo Representatives Gary Alejano, Bangsamoro leader Samira Gutok, and LaSalle College of Law Dean Attorney Jose Manuel Diokno in the 2019 midterm polls. Let's find out why from Monokson.
A coalition of multi-sectoral groups, Tindig Pilipinas, presents its initial list of candidates to support in the upcoming midterm elections. These are Congressman Gary Alejano, Bangsamoro Transition Commission member Samira Gutok, and LaSalle College Law Dean Attorney Jose Manuel Diokno, who are running for senator in 2019 polls. Diokno and Samira are members of the Liberal Party, while Alejano is the representative of the Magdalo party list. Apart from the three, Tindig Pilipinas also endorses the candidacy of Liberal Party Senator Bam Aquino and former Congressman Erin Tañada. Tindig Pilipinas, which is one of the groups critical of the policies of President Rodrigo Duterte, says the candidates went through a strict selection process. The group believes these personalities will fight for the rights of the people.
Itong slate ay opposition slate at hindi po LP slate. Koalisyon ito ng Magdalo, Akbayan, Aksyon Demokratiko, Tindig Pilipinas, Liberal Party at iba pang mga oposisyon.
The said candidates have been vocal of their opposition to some policies and alleged abusive acts of the Duterte administration. They are also calling on Filipino voters not to rely on popularity and to be wise in choosing their next leaders by making an effort to learn about the candidates' platforms and advocacies.
Iakyat nyo ang antas ng diskusyon, iakyat nyo ang antas ng diskurso, iakyat nyo ang antas ng naratibo. Bigyan nyo ang tsansa ang mga taga-islands po, indigenous peoples.
Members of Tindig Pilipinas will meet next week to discuss and select the remaining candidates who will complete their lineup of endorsement. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Commission on Elections will resolve next week in which the political party faction of PDP Laban will be carried as an official party. Meanwhile, Comelec clarifies that a mere filing of a COC doesn't make one an official candidate. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
One of the issues being tackled at the filing of certificate of candidacy is the issue whether Freddy Aguilar will be acknowledged as a senatorial aspirant of PDP Laban. This after PDP Laban President Senator Coco Pimentel denied that Aguilar is being carried by their party. Senator Pimentel and Freddy Aguilar are the first and second candidates who filed during the first day of the filing of COC yesterday. According to Comelec, they still have to study the decision they will issue on the political party faction. It is clear, however, says Comelec, that one will be considered as a political party and the other faction as independent.
So under our process, talagang ipapahir namin. But ang commitment naman namin, after the ng hearing, pabibilisan namin yung decision para naman hindi ma-confuse yung mga kandidato. So, rest assured that pabibilisan namin yung resolution ng kaso.
Kasi we have to determine who are the real members of PDP Laban.
They will issue their decision on October 18 after the set filing of COCs. Meanwhile, the poll body also made a clarification on the issue as to when a COC filer can be considered as an official candidate. According to Comelec Law Department, a filer can only be considered a candidate once the campaign period starts on February 12, 2019. This means aspirants are still free to post their campaign materials.
Pursuant to the Supreme Court ruling and the definition under 9369, a candidate becomes a candidate during the campaign period. And practically all the prohibited acts apply during the campaign period.
Comelec clarified that filers should also understand their limitation as aspiring political candidate.
So until the campaign period starts, everyone gets to do whatever they want. Now we appeal to the candidates themselves. Right now, it's a question of delicadeza, really. Right? So we appeal to them to see it that way.
There are two proposed bills in Congress to amend the provision of the elections when a filer can be considered as a candidate. Congress is still reviewing and combining the two bills. The filing of certificate of candidacy will resume next week, October 15 to 17, from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Binay family is yet to settle things amongst themselves over the expected fight for the mayoralty position between former Makati Mayor Junjun Binay and their youngest sibling, Abigail. Abigail is the incumbent mayor of Makati, a position previously held by Junjun prior to his dismissal from office in 2016. Junjun Binay says they are still waiting for the arrival of their parents for the supposed meeting.
I'm also waiting for my father. Babalik na rin siya. So mag-usap-usap yung pamilya. And yun na rin naman yung salita ni Ate Nance na mag-usap-usap ulit kaming as a family.
So yung final decision pala on your part, sir? So,
well, it's if I would put into weight itong mga taong nagka-clamor, then syempre gusto ko silang paglingkuran. Of course, kailangan kausapin ko din yung tatay ko.
Former Comelec Chairman Sixto Brillantes, meanwhile, believes there is no legal impediment if Junjun Binay will file for re-election when asked if the former mayor can be disqualified should he decide to run again. Junjun and former Vice President Jejomar Binay were charged for cases of graft and falsification of documents in February of 2016 over the construction of Makati City Hall Building 2.
May isang siya naka-reverse na, tapos na yun. Lusot na siya ron. Lusot pangalawa, pending. So, hindi pa final. Kasi ang rule naman, maski yung question ng Comelec Lusot number 22, final and executory na ba yan? Hindi pa final eh. So wala pang disqualification.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government is looking to forward to the Commission on Elections the list of politicians allegedly involved in the narcotics trade. Comelec, meanwhile, is still studying the request of the DILG to disqualify candidates who are included in the so-called narco list. Rosa Licos tells us why.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government wants to make public the list of politicians who are allegedly involved in the illegal drug trade in the country. The DILG Assistant Secretary Jonathan Malaya says they plan to forward the list to the Commission on Elections after the period of the filing of candidacy in the hopes of disqualifying them from the upcoming midterm elections. The agency clarifies the personalities in the said list are still being validated by the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency. It will also let the Comelec decide on what course of action to take against the suspected narco politicians.
We will leave it now to the Comelec, no? Kasi nasa kanila na ngayon kung anong gusto nilang gawin doon. Basta kami, insofar as the DILG is concerned, we have this list, we forward it to them, and we will leave it to them how they will dispose of it.
But according to Comelec Chairman Sheriff Abbas, they are still studying the legality of the request of the DILG and PIDEA.
Kailangan may due process. Hindi pwedeng dahil nasa listahan ka, DQ ka kaagad. Pangalawa, titingnan natin yung listahan kung under the rules, pwede ba natin silang i-DQ.
If the Comelec refuses to take action, DILG will also ask clearance from the Office of the Chief Executive to release the list to the public. President Rodrigo Duterte, meanwhile, told reporters last night that he is not inclined to release the names of suspected narco politicians.
Nagsimula na po yung filing ng COC sa Comelec. According to PIDEA, may 86 pa na narco politicians na probably they'll be filing a COC at the Comelec. Any plan for this one? Are you going to mention their names again so the people may know?
Ito yung sa... No, I will not. This is not a good policy to to telegraph your intention or what you know about the other friend, especially in matters of breaking penal laws. We will not in government.
Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The Philippine National Police continues to monitor private armies allegedly being maintained by politicians in view of the upcoming midterm elections. Robbie De Guzman tells us why.
Commanders of the Philippine National Police are coordinating with personalities who are seeking elective positions in the 2019 midterm polls. PNP spokesperson Chief Superintendent Benigno Dorana Jr. says this is to assess their security needs, especially those who are facing violent threats.
Would be able to provide them with
necessary security cover if they qualify based on the requirements set by our policy and set by our laws.
Police commanders are also conducting assessments in areas that are under the Comelec watch list due to intense political rivalry, high election-related violence, and presence of private armies and hired assassins. Durana says this is part of their target to have a safe and orderly elections in 2019.
Because just recently we've announced na meron tayong, we are looking at, based on historical data, we are looking at 7,915 barangays. Actually, ang Comelec, tinawag na po nila yan, election hotspots.
The PNP is also closely monitoring private armies allegedly being maintained by politicians to intimidate their opponents. Police are also looking into forming a national task force and a monitoring center in Camp Crame, as well as deploying additional personnel in different areas in the country ahead of the 2019 midterm polls. Robbie de Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue.
The Makati RTC Branch 148 has admitted as evidence majority of the documents submitted by the camp of Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. Meanwhile, the senator's fate at Branch 150 still remains hanging in the balance after the hearing today. Mai Bermudez will tell us why.
The court has admitted majority of the documents submitted by the camp of Senator Antonio Trillanes IV based on the decision of Judge Andres Soriano of Makati RTC Branch 148. This include his certificate of amnesty, affidavits of those who processed his application, and his aides, photos showing the event, and some D&D issued documents.
Even in 148, the prosecution failed to present even a single witness or even a single piece of documents to substantiate their claim. In fact, hindi nga kami kailangan magpresenta ng ebidensya. Ang burden of proof nasa DOJ. 7 taong kasong patay, binubuhay nila.
Despite this, some evidence were rejected by the court, including the printout of the official Facebook page of DND and the printout of Senator Trillanes' throwback picture. The court is expected to decide next week on the senator's fate. Meanwhile, at Branch 150, where his rebellion charges hangs in the balance, Judge Elmo Alameda has given the lawyer of the senator 5 days to file their comment on the DOJ's opposition to their plea to reverse the court's earlier ruling.
Yun ang hinihingi namin kay Judge na hindi lang ito motion na lang ng prosecution. Kung hindi, meron pinag-uusapan dito na nirefer ng Supreme Court na factual issues. At hindi pwedeng tapusin yun sa isang summary hearing.
Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
The Department of Health and several health advocates are calling for the immediate passage of a measure that would increase the taxes on cigarettes. Joanano explains why in this report.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque III is pushing the Senate Committee on Ways and Means chaired by Senator Sani Angara to increase the amount of excise tax on cigarette items. Duque emphasizes that the proposal would help minimize the number of smokers and patients who fall ill and die for smoking cigarettes.
The ultimate goal of the DOH, understanding that the sin tax law must proceed from the angle of health. And because it is health, if nobody will buy the cigarettes. That is our ultimate goal.
The group urges Senate to consider a 60 or 90 pesos in tax to each pack of cigarettes. Based on a prior study on the impact of the measure, around 1 to 2 million smokers would be encouraged to quit once the proposal becomes a law.
Kapag tumaas kasi yung presyo, syempre magkakaroon ng impact yan sa demand sa consumption at magkakaroon din yan ng impact sa number of smokers.
The Health Secretary already forwarded a letter to President Rodrigo Duterte requesting him to certify as urgent the proposed increase in excise tax on cigarettes. Aside from health reasons, the DOH believes that the additional tax on cigarettes will help support the implementation of the Universal Healthcare Bill once it is enacted into law. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Bureau of Customs warns traders anew to follow the policies and due process in shipping products after it seized abandoned and misdeclared goods worth more than 3 million pesos at the Manila International Container Port. Kathy Magdalang tells us why.
Boxes of carrots labeled as apples and used clothing from China met Bureau of Customs inspectors led by Commissioner Isidro La Peña during an inspection at the Manila International Container Port. The boxes of carrots inside 6 containers are estimated to be worth 1.97 million pesos, while the used clothing are worth 1.8 million pesos. Commissioner La Peña says the misdeclared boxes of carrots arrived at the MICP on August 24, 2018 and were consigned to ASD Total Package Enterprises Incorporated. The container of used clothing, which were declared to contain hangers and plastic rocks, arrived on September 4 and were addressed to Fresha Prime Marketing Company. The consignees of the misdeclared goods are facing various charges. ASD Total Package Enterprises Incorporated violated Section 117 or the Regulated Importation and Exportation, Section 1400 or the misdeclaration, misclassification, undervaluation in goods, declaration of the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act in relation to RA 10845 or the Anti-Smuggling Act of 2016. Fresha Prime Marketing Company is in violation of Section 1400 of RA 10845 or Anti-Smuggling Act of 2016 and RA 4653 that prohibits the commercial importation of textile articles. BOC warns traders to follow the policies and due process or risk being stripped of BOC accreditation.
This is the result of our intensified campaign against smuggling. I have directed the collectors in all ports actually na to be on the watch, to be on guard against this kind of syndicated activity that to deprive government of its of the rightful duties and taxes.
The commissioner adds that more than 1,000 employees have already been through surprise reshuffling in an effort to improve service. Meanwhile, seized goods that can still be used will be donated to the Department of Social Welfare and Development to be given to typhoon victims. Kathy Maglalang, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Senate Defenders and the Armed Forces of the Philippines are looking to notch their 3rd straight wins when they go against their respective opponents in the ongoing UNTV Cup Season 7 eliminations on Sunday. Victor Cosare tells us why.
UNTV Cup Season 6 champion Senate Defenders and the Armed Forces of the Philippines will try to keep their share on the Group A lead when they clash against their respective rivals in the 7th edition of the UNTV Cup on Sunday at the Pasig City Sports Center. The Senate will go up against the Department of Justice Boosters at 2 in the afternoon, while the AFP will collide with the rookie PITC Global Traders at 5 p.m. The Defenders and Cavaliers are looking to score their 3rd straight wins in the ongoing elimination rounds. Senate coach Mike Fermin says his team spent the last 2 weeks conditioning their minds and bodies in preparation for the contest with the Boosters.
Tuloy-tuloy lang ang training, no? And then conditioning, more conditioning, and then polish pa ng konti sa depensa pa rin kasi may lapses pa rin. So actually, kung hindi kami makadepensa, hindi kami makascore.
AFP coach Corporal Cornelio Sani Manukat meanwhile motivates his players to hold on to their instincts as they set to go against the swift-footed and lithe Global Traders. The PITC has been gunning for their first win after suffering consecutive defeats in their last 2 matches.
Meron tendency mag-relax eh. Every time pag lalo nakikita nilang tingin nila kaya nila yung kalaban, which is bad for the team kasi madadala mo yan eh. So sabi ko tuloy lang, killer instinct lang all the time, and hopefully we'll just take it 1 game at a time. Hopefully we win the game every time.
Along the way we'll be better. This is a new team. It's very promising. Marami pa. Next time we will be bouncing back again and we'll try to win it this time.
Fresh from their morale-boosting win over the Ombudsman Graph Busters, the PhilHealth Plus is eyeing to claim a 2nd win when they tangle with the robust Malacanang PSC Camao at 3 p.m. Malacanang is also shooting for a 3rd straight win to share the top spot in Group B with the National Housing Authority.
Malacanang is a very good team. Malalaki sila, kompleto team nila. Siguro ang bentahin namin, yung puso ng mga players namin, we will be inspired to play our best for our beneficiaries and of course sa aming mga supporters sa Team PhilHealth Plus.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A miner from Benguet turns to artistry after a tragic landslide hit Itogon. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
After the tragic landslide in Itogon, Benguet, around 12,000 small-scale miners lost their jobs due to an order of stoppage of small-scale mining operations in Cordillera. Among them is Kenneth Pulsingay. Through the help of a group of artists called Pasakalye, Kenneth is able to continue to earn for a living, but this time through art. Kenneth is now making sculptures through wires.
Nagustuhan po nila yung ginagawa ko kaya na-inspire akong gumawa pa ng marami. Nagsimula po ako sa isang gagambang laruan po. Hanggang gumawa na ako ng mga puno-puno, ganun po.
With a capital of 120 pesos, Kenneth is able to sell his artworks for 1,300 pesos to 3,000 pesos each. The miner-turned-artist prefers designs related to nature after the tragedy. He made an ompong tree artwork to remind his fellow men to care for the environment and symbolize resiliency as well.
Yung punong parang hinangin po yung pagkatapos ng ompong, gumawa ko ng ganong puno po. Kahit gaano kabigat yung problema, kakayanin at kakayanin.
Meanwhile, apart from sculptures, Pasakalye artists also help Typhoon Ompong victims through other works of art.
Hey, may mga products din ang ating mga displaced miners considering hindi na sila pwedeng bumalik sa kanilang mga trabaho. So we need also to help them out in their marketing. So today we had some sketches. The proceeds also will be going back again to the Ompong victims when we go for our own relief operations.
Leslie Lomboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
More reasons behind the stories when Y News returns.